this episode of Dull Survival, two townies get lost in the middle of Sweden on a lake inhabited by the deaf and blind village. Entrepreneur alias is famous Slovenian bachelor. Jake is well-known celebrity in Poland. Finlandsvensk is a little island in Västersjön, the little lake in the middle of Sweden. This area is famous for elder ice hockey players and especially deaf and blind people. First time in 6 decades, Jake and Alias managed to reach the Västersjön. They are drifting happily by a small boat. Suddenly the boat turns around.
We lost our clothes and our boat failed. We don't have engine power. Yeah. So now we have to swim to the nearest island to save ourselves.
After 2 kilometers of swimming, they reach an island. They have nothing to eat, nothing to drink. They have Finlandsvensk in the middle of Sweden. Position couldn't be worse.
So the first thing that you need to do when lost somewhere in the middle of nowhere is search for firewood, because with fire you can survive. Without it, you're dead.
Situation is bad. Jake, the famous disc jockey, must find wood for fire in 15 minutes,
hey!
or they will freeze to death.
This is beautiful. Do you know what makes a real survivor?
No, what?
He always carries the tulus
In his
anus. I think this will save us.
It's still fresh.
Yes.
Alias, the bachelor, begins to light the campfire with the medieval Swedish method. It doesn't look good, does it?
So what is happening here is Alias is doing the most important thing to survive. He's lighting up the fire. And because of the rainy season, it's quite difficult because everything is wet and the tulus can be a bit rusty because it has stayed inside me for at least 5 years. But as you can see, Alias is a true survivor. He managed it with the tulus, even with wet firewood, easily. Can you feel it? It's really nice.
It's warm.
Yeah, this is surviving.
Yes.
The next thing after getting ourselves warm and dry is of course searching materials to make a shelter, to hide from the weather and wolves and everything.
In Sweden, you can't hide from rain behind the palm trees. It's vital that Alias managed to find an artificial shelter.
What? How did it come here? It looks like a tent.
You found something?
Yes, I think it's a tent. But we really have to check it out together.
Yes. Bring it over here.
It's quite heavy. I don't know where the fuck it came from.
Probably dropped from an airplane.
It looks military grade.
But be careful, it can be also cocaine. It's this kind of territory that they drop these packages off, and we have to be careful. People are searching for this.
It's not cocaine.
Let me see.
Ah, what? It's a tent.
It's a tent.
Okay, it's the last one.
I think it's ready.
Yeah.
Man, it was easy.
That was really easy.
Somewhere in the middle of Sweden, 2 guys are heading towards the Nordic Gold Night.
I think that we should really go to sleep and just try to minimize our
you know, heart rate, not
No,
to burn too many calories.
This is too typical you, that you want to only to sleep. I'm really hungry from the swim,
but
and I made this
spear.
nice piece of weaponry.
No, but you
And-
really have to like turn down your
No,
heart rate. You won't
I'm fed up
burn
with this.
so many
I'm
calories.
fed up with this.
So what
like I'm really hungry. It's really important that you maintain your blood sugar up when you're surviving, so you don't end up arguing with your companion and maybe eating him. So I made this stick, and we have to find some food. We can search around. This is a region for well-known region for blind and deaf people who can't hear. There's government airplanes. They don't want to interact with them. They just drop the sausages here. We can try to find the sausages from the woods.
Sometimes when you're in the nature, it makes a lot of sense to listen to your companion. So Jake really convinced me that we need food. We burned a lot of energy, so I'll try to find the loose sausage. Let's go.
Something is missing. Jake and Alias need something to eat. There are no big animals to grill. You can't eat fish because the lake is contaminated by nuclear power plant behind the nearest foreland.
When finding something like this, you really have to be careful because there's a lot of planes coming here. So the government plants or throws down the sausages, but also it can happen that it's poo. So first you really have to taste it. It's salty, so it's not shit. It's a sausage. But one is too little. Let's try to search for more.
You did it again. Like you found it.
Finlandsvensk is a little island in the middle of Sweden. The nights are cold, so you need a shelter. You need heat, and you need a friend who doesn't push you out until he's done.
Fuck, I love these mornings. It's so nice.
So sweaty.
Yeah. It was a hard work. So one of really important thing with surviving is to try to find an entertainment, things to do, maybe a hobby. It hasn't be serious. It doesn't have to determine who you are, but it's just seek for fun.
It doesn't mean that you're gay if there's sausage involved and a rocking motion. It's just good fun and entertainment because you have to get your mind off of this whole survival situation.
From the stress.
After 6 days, the survivors saw a man on the lake.
Look at me!
Jake had big hopes that there was a famous ice hockey player, Mats Sundin, in a boat. Too bad, the man was both deaf and blind.
I never went for the sign language school, so I don't know how to show him. Help me. Help me.
Already 2 weeks in Finlandsvensk, something has to be done.
It's hopeless. We cannot stay here anymore.
No, there's sausages, there's fire, there's tent. Like,
No.
we have to stay there.
No. We can stay here 1 day, 2 days. It will change nothing. We have to move on. Like, we have to search for help, and
But we're surviving.
we're surviving. But but we are dying on this island. Like we're running out of sausages. It will happen. Like
Fuck! I'm not going away from
really,
here.
I'm going.
No! Stay here!
Hey! We have to go.
No!
After 2
Motherfucker!
weeks, the long relationship between Jake and Alias is getting to its end. Jake and Alias get separated. In the next episode, Jake comes back to Hermansholmen alone with the Swedish fire department.
Going.